Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to JohnnyKpicks. And in this video, I'll be going over my full card picks and predictions, along with the bets that I'm looking at so far for UFC St. Louis versus Nascimento. Now, first things first, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, or if you just haven't yet. Click those notifications so you know when I put out my videos, when we have our live shows, and leave some comments below how well you did at UFC 301. Some underdogs that you're liking for this card. Anything helps the algorithm. And definitely check out my Patreon, patreon.com/JohnnyKpicks. I put out all my early UFC content, my early bets, my time prop cheat sheets, my betting cheat sheets, any other bets that I do throughout the week, I always put on there as well. You can also join for free. It's $5.99 a month to get all of that. And I think it's worth it for $5.99 a month. Not a big deal. It's a beer a month. Think about it that way. But last night was UFC 301. Let's quickly go over that because there were some pretty decent fights and some not so decent as well. So we got the first one here. It's going to be Costa versus Borjas. Very good performance from Costa. I like him a lot, actually. I think his striking is improving tremendously. He has grappling and wrestling. We just really haven't seen it all that much, but when we have seen it, it's very good. He's come from a grappling background, so he's working on striking with Diego Lopez, Alexa Grasso, all those people in that camp, and they are killers. So like what I saw, got the performance bonus right there. So good win from him. Bonfim versus Pichel. Bonfim was going to win this fight, let's be honest, but it was probably going to be by decision because Pichel is just not amazing, but he's very durable, and that's just what happened. It was a little bit of a boring fight, but it is what it is. Controversial decision, I will say this. Barboza versus Caracate, I believe that's how you say, or Caracate, whatever. I thought Ernesto won rounds 2 and 3, but I know round 2 was the close round. Barboza won round 1. I think Ernesto won round 3. I thought she won, but hey, unanimous decision. All 3 judges were in Brazil. Give it to Barboza. Ruffy versus Malarkey. Wow. Mauricio has amazing striking, and I know it's Jamie Malarkey, but he made Jamie Malarkey look awful, and not because of the chin, it's just because Malarkey didn't do anything that fight. He couldn't figure out what to do. I don't know if he was just scared or what, but I like what I see from Mauricio. I want to see somebody better than Malarkey now because this guy has striking is very, very good. Drakkar Klose versus Silva. I will say this. I had to step out from and go somewhere real quick. So I missed this whole fight. But what I've seen from the replays was it was a very close fight, no pun intended. And Klose won a close decision as usual. But I did see Silva had Klose in a guillotine that was very close. A lot of close. So good win from Klose. I won a close decision. That's usually how he wins. Orobe versus Brenner. You know, this was a fairly close fight. I know the point deduction made it look a lot closer, but round 3 was up in the air. And if Brenner did not get knocked down in 2 seconds, this would have been a draw. And but Orobe was able to get the wrestling going. Brenner he kind of looked like he did have a bad weight cut, and maybe it did affect his performance a little bit. His cardio wasn't really as good as we've seen it. And after, like, you know, in the first round, even, like, he looked a little gassed, but he pushed through it, and he just looked a little sloppy, all that good stuff. But I'm not going to take anything away from Orobe, but maybe it was just a bad weight cut for Brenner, because I do think he's a little bit better than what we've seen. But Orobe, like I said, good performance from him. He got the job done. Yeah, we'll see what happens with him next. I mean, I'm just not super sold on him, but it is what it is. Who I am sold on is Lucindo versus Carolina. Lucindo is great. She's 22 years old. She's not a finished product by any means, but she is 22. And what I see from her in the future is championship level. Give her 3 or 4, 5 years. She's still going to be super young. She's only going to gain experience in the UFC. And this was a great win from her. See what happens in her next fight. Brito versus Jack Shore. I do not know why Jack Shore is a featherweight now. He needs to go back down to bantamweight. Not to say because of what happened in the fight because I don't understand why the doctor stopped it and called it off. I know it looked bad, but I think I saw on Twitter afterwards that they went to the hospital. There was no fracture. So I'd be pissed as well if I was Jack Shore. Like, let the guy fight until he doesn't want to fight anymore. I mean, I know I get it from both sides, but if I was Jack Shore, I'd be mad. But good win from Brito. He was getting those leg kicks going. He was definitely more physical, way stronger. Jack Shore needs to go back down bantamweight. I don't know why. I don't know why he's a featherweight, but it is what it is. Caio Borralho versus Paul Craig. Paul Craig, you just needed to survive 20 seconds, bro. 20 more seconds for me to get that over 1.5. It hurts, but very good win from Kai. We all knew that was going to happen. Let's be honest. Michel Pereira versus Ior Pereira. Pereira had to put on a show in Brazil, didn't he? That jumping knee that may or may have not landed on Pereira. I kind of think it landed on like the neckish part first and then rolled into the chin. But either way, he shouldn't be doing this anymore because that could have been a disqualification. But, it's not going to happen in Brazil. But very good performance again. This guy is a mythical fighter at middleweight. So I don't know what to say. He's looking really good. Speaking of looking not as good, Vitor Petrino lost this fight, and he literally gave Anthony Smith this win. I'm still in shock that what he did. That was like the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And he had to have known to not take this fight to the mat because of something like this could happen. Not to the level of stupidity, but he could have got submitted any way possible if this fight got to the mat. Keep the fight on the feet. Use the striking. Maybe you can knock out Anthony Smith. He's been knocked out 10 times in his career, especially 5 months ago. But what does he do? Takedown, guillotine. It is all over. Probably the best performance of the night, Jose Aldo, or one of them, and Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez, I just don't think he's all that great, even though I bet him, but I shouldn't have. I should have not bet him. That was my worst bet of the night. Jose Aldo looked great, very crisp striking, boxing, all that good stuff. And Jonathan had zero. He didn't know what to do. He tried kicking in the first round and he stopped kicking. That's his best weapon. So weird fight, but good win from Aldo. King of Rio. Still, see what happens. I hope he keeps fighting. He looks like he can, clearly. Pantoja versus Usyk. This is the most controversial fight of the night, more than likely. I had Pantoja winning 48-47. Now, I thought Pantoja won round 1 and round 5, clearly. I thought Usyk won round 4, clearly. It's just rounds 2 and 3 that were the very close rounds. So I could see they could make an argument for Usyk winning. You can make an argument for Pantoja winning. Very close fight. I had Pantoja winning, but I totally see how it could be 48-47 Usyk, though. The 49-46 Pantoja, though, no bueno. I would not have given Pantoja winning those 2 very close rounds because I do think Usyk won one of them at least, and then it's just the other one that's maybe you could give to Pantoja. So it is what it is, but I think the right fighter won. But I mean, was it spectacular or was it fun to watch? I mean, there were some very good scrambles that made it fun, some pretty decent shots, but that's really about it. It wasn't the greatest fight, let's be honest. But Pantoja got it done, and Usyk's still young. I think he can get back in this and maybe a fight or two next. He's fighting again for the belt because he put on a good performance. He just made a mistake in the 5th round to cost him the fight. So, like I said, overall, good card. For my bets, let's get there too. I had 7 bets. I won 4, and I came out with a little bit ahead, 0.72 units. So it's better than a losing night, to be honest. I'm going to take this and run with it because I think I've lost the last 4 or 5 cards. So to me, this is a huge win at 0.72 units. My picks, I end up going 10-3. So that was a good night on my picks. I mean, I lost Petrino. I lost my Brenner underdog pick, and I also lost Martinez. So those are my 3 L's, and I'm sure a lot of people had the same losses except maybe the Brenner one. But yeah, that's all I got for that one. So let's jump right into UFC I'm gonna say Los Angeles, St. Louis. Here we go. 13 fights. Let's start with the first one. JJ Aldrich versus Veronica Hardy. So JJ, solid striker. She does have some wrestling she can use. She does have some okay power. She's not really the biggest or best finisher, but her takedown defense is pretty good. She can be taken down, but it is pretty good. Yeah, she's durable, decent cardio, some questionable fight IQ moments from here to there, but it is what it is. Veronica, though, solid striking. She's very quick with her hands. She likes to push forward. Good cardio, good takedowns, and good top control when she's on top. And she has good grappling too. So this is going to be a good fight. I'm going to go with Veronica Hardy. I just like her overall well-rounded game more so than JJ's. I know JJ may have I don't know. The striking to me is very close, but I do think Hardy's going to have the wrestling advantage, and I definitely going to have the grappling advantage. So is JJ going to be able to stuff the takedowns? That's the question. I'm going to say maybe she might do it in the beginning, but I do think eventually Veronica is going to mix in the takedowns as the fight goes on. I do think this fight goes over 2.5, but I'm going to say Hardy wins this one by decision. It's going to be close, probably 29-28, but I don't know. She's looking pretty good. I think the last two fights, I know both these girls in their last two fights haven't really fought the greatest competition. Let's be honest. So this is about where I think both fighters are in their careers. So this is a good test for both. But I just think Veronica is just a little bit more well-rounded and gets this one done. Next one, Jared Gooden versus Kevin Jousset. And Jared Gooden, powerful striker. He can be hittable on the feet, though. His takedown defense isn't all that great. That's the one little thing about him. He can even mix in some takedowns here and there, but he's more so a striker. Making it, this is his second run at the UFC. He had to go to the regionals for a while, and he lost one, but then he won two. In his last fight against Wellington Turman, he did good in that fight and actually got the rear naked choke. So good win from him. Kevin, though, well-rounded fighter. I mean, I wouldn't say he does anything amazing, but he does everything pretty good. Solid striking, solid wrestling. He can be hittable as well, but he is durable with good cardio, and he's going to be a little bit taller here, but Jared's going to have a little bit more reach. So close fight, but I'm going to go with Kevin Jousset, though. I know it's going to be probably, if he wins, it's probably going to be a boring decision, but Jared's going to have the power advantage. He might be able to get the knockout, but I just don't trust him to get the knockout in this fight. I think Kevin can mix up the wrestling, maybe even push him up against the cage, wear him down a bit early on, and then just win a boring decision, 29-28, or maybe even 30-27. I think Jared's path to victory here is by knockout, but I mean, Kevin's only been knocked out once in his career, and I don't remember who it was. It was Jack Della Maddalena, and it was a doctor stoppage, so it wasn't really even technically like a TKO or a KO. The doctor said you can't go. So give me Kevin to win. I'm going to say by decision, but it should be a fairly close fight. Do I trust those odds? Maybe 2-1 range. Yeah, we'll see where that line goes. Next fight is going to be Hadley versus Charles Johnson. So this one is going to be a very interesting fight. Hadley is a well-rounded guy. He's got good, solid striking, good counters, decent power, very good jiu-jitsu, submissions. His takedowns are just okay. And his takedown defense isn't the greatest, but I don't think Charles is going to try to take him down maybe too much. Let's put it that way. Because he is pretty dangerous off his back, Hadley is. So that's something Charles may have to worry about there. Johnson, solid striker. His takedown defense isn't all that great, but it is pretty solid, though. He can be controlled if he is taken down, but lately, man, he's been doing better with that. Actually, watching his last few fights, I know some of them have been losses, but very close losses. And yeah, he's durable. Good cardio too. Sometimes, if he takes a fight on short notice, he does look a little bit gassed in the third, but this fight isn't. And hometown guy is from St. Louis. He's fighting out of St. Louis. So the underdog, This is gonna be a close fight and a good fight. I'm picking Charles Johnson, and I usually don't pick Charles Johnson, but something in me is telling me that he's gonna win. And it's going to go to decision. But I think as the fight goes on, I think it's going to favor Charles Johnson, and he could win rounds 2 and 3. But round 1 will be fun. We'll see where it goes. But this could be another live betting spot too. If you want to wait till after the first round to see how each fighter looks and what the odds are, but I like Johnson to win as an underdog. So give me. I don't think I've ever picked him before. I did pick him once. I lied. It was against Jimmy Flick. That's who I picked him against. I did pick him against Master Z as well. So I picked him a couple times. So I'm gonna roll with him this time as an underdog. I think that's the time when you bet him is when he's an underdog. He performs at his best. So he's gonna be at home. He's gonna want to win this one. I think everything's riding on Charles Johnson here. I'm gonna see where the line goes. But Hadley is dangerous. I will say that. This is gonna be another fun fight. Trey Waters versus Billy Goff. Trey Waters, huge guy, 6'5". I think he's got a 77-inch reach. Crazy for a welterweight, but he's a solid striker with good power in his hands. He's a little hittable sometimes on the feet. He kind of has that tall man's striking defense. He keeps his head back a little bit because, I mean, he's 6'5". You can. He does have good cardio. He does have some sneaky submissions, sneaky chokes, guillotines, stuff like that because he is lengthy. And he's a solid, good fighter. And speaking of, Billy Goff, good fighter as well, well-rounded, good striking, good boxing, good wrestling, good takedowns. He's got good cardio. He's durable. He's very hittable though, but he'll keep pushing forward, and he's a dog. So, man, I do like Billy Goff as a fighter, but I just think in this fight, both guys are dangerous. The 6'5" guy with the 77-inch reach is just going to be a little bit too much for Billy. And I think Trey Waters is going to win this one. I can see a knockout from Trey Waters. I can see a submission potentially. And I can see a decision win. I think Billy Goff's going to need to get a knockout here to win. And I don't think he's going to be able to win a decision. So I'm going to go with Trey Waters to win. I'll say decision or late finish. But I mean, it's going to be a fun fight, but I just think that, just like I said, the height and the reach is going to be just a little bit too much for Billy. I think it's going to get hit a little bit too much, and he's just not going to win this fight, unfortunately. I like Billy Goff as a fighter, though. I like Trey, too, but Tabitha Ricci versus Tecia Torres. So Tecia Torres, as everybody probably already knows, is going to hear all week. She's coming back from having her baby, 2 years off. And she did lose her last fight. She did lose her fight against Mackenzie Dern. I think Tecia Torres won that fight. Anyways, Tabitha Ricci, though, very good grappler, solid wrestler. Her striking is pretty good. She doesn't really have the greatest, power in her hands or anything, but she is quick with her striking. And she's just, she needs a grapple. I'm going to say it right now. In this fight, I do think she needs to mix in some wrestling, because whenever she does, she can't mix in the wrestling, or she doesn't get the grappling going, one of the two. More than likely, she does lose this fight, or loses her fights. This one, I mean, we'll see what happens. But Torres, well-rounded, good striking, good, solid takedown defense. It's not like elite, but she can be taken down. Good power in her hands. She's got good cardio. She's durable. She's fought good competition. But like I said earlier in this breakdown, she recently just had a baby, and she hasn't fought in 2 years. And usually with women, when they just have a baby, it's not a good thing when they come back with their first fight. So I got to go with Tabitha Ricci here. And even so, it would be I'd be a little bit more back and forth if Tecia didn't just come back from having a baby and 2 years off. I think it'll be a very close fight, but I just think Ricci's going to win this one. I think she can mix in some wrestling and the grappling too. And even on the feet, I think she can do well too. Maybe you would give Torres a slight lean, but I'm just a little bit worried how she's going to look when she's coming back now. So I don't know if she's going to be how we remember her, how she was before, all that stuff. So it's a little bit of a toss-up. So I do think Ricci wins this one. I'm going to say by decision, because both these girls, they're durable. They have good cardio, and they're not really the greatest finishers unless Ricci can get a submission on the ground. That's something you can maybe think about there. So I like Ricci though a lot. Next one, Terrence McKinney versus Esteban Ribovics. So we know how long this is going to last, not very, but McKinney is a kill or be killed fighter. I think if I remember correctly, he's only been over 1.5 rounds in his career like once or twice. And he's had 21 fights. He either loses under 1.5 or he wins under 1.5. And a lot of those fights are in the first round too. Sometimes they sneak in the round 2 but I think one time it snuck into round 3, but it's crazy how many times that's happened for him. But he's a very explosive striker with very good power, good wrestling, good grappling, good takedowns. The problem is his cardio, and if he gets touched up on the chin, he kind of just fades a little bit, and he's very hesitant, and then he's going to lose right away. That's it. And he's got like 1 round of cardio in him, and if he doesn't get a win in the first round, more than likely he's going to lose no matter what. Ribovics, very good striker. He's got good power in his hands too. He likes to push forward. His grappling is just okay. His takedown defense isn't all that great. He can probably survive on the mat for 1 round against McKinney, unless McKinney maybe takes the back. But we've seen Ribovics getting taken down and get controlled, and him surviving or getting back up. So I don't know if McKinney's going to be able to sub him on the ground. But Esteban's never been knocked out either in his career, and he's never been finished either. He's only lost a decision once to Loic Ruziboev. So now it's a close fight too. That could have went either way. But give me Ribovics to win. It's just really hard to trust McKinney unless he's fighting somebody that maybe shouldn't be in the UFC, or he's fighting somebody on who's taking the fight on short notice, like a couple of these last wins. Mike Breeden, Brendan Marat. I mean, he's losing to Sadikov. He's losing to Ishmael, and then Eric Gonzalez. Like, the people that he's winning, he should be winning to, because those guys probably shouldn't be in the UFC. But the guys that should be in the UFC, he's losing to. And I do think Ribovics is one of those guys that should be in the UFC. So again, it's very hard to trust McKinney and pick McKinney, but I'm going to go with Ribovics to win. I'm going to say by either late knockout or late first round knockout, or early second under 1.5 rounds. I mean, look at that. It's going to be like minus 500, but probably going to happen. Let's be honest. Crazy fight here, actually. Chase Hooper versus Slavaklaus Borshchev. Yeah, Chase Hooper, we all know him. He's still 24 years old, but I feel like he's been in the UFC for 10 years. But very good grappler, very good submission artist. His wrestling is working. He's work in progress. He's getting those takedowns. His striking is a little bit of a work in progress. It's improving a little bit here and there. He's got very good cardio. He's got very good scrambles. And the problem is, if it's on the feet for too long, that's when he can get in some trouble, and he can get touched up, and he's going to have to worry about that for this fight, because Slavaklaus is a very good striker, very good kickboxer, good body shots as well. Takedown defense, though, is not great, but he does have a pretty good get-up game, and he does have good submission defense. He trains at Team Alpha Male, so he should be knowing how to defend submissions and takedowns, all that good stuff. And I do think he's improving with that each and every fight as well. I know the last fight against Sadikov was very close. It went to a draw. I'm sorry. But he was able to stuff some takedowns and do well on the feet. But I mean, this fight's grappler versus striker. It just really depends on who you think is going to be able to implement their game plans, because Chase isn't going to want to keep it on the feet. Slava does not want to go to the mat. But I'm going to go with Slavaklaus to win, because I'm going to go with the striker over the grappler in case this fight goes to decision, because the judges like striking more so than grappling. So to me, Chase is going to have to get a submission here to win. And I think Slavaklaus can get a knockout or win a decision just based off of damage and volume alone. So I think he can crack Chase Hooper, honestly. And those body shots are going to not feel good for Chase Hooper's skinny body. So give me Borshchev to win. I'm going to say by knockout in the second, or maybe I'll say second round. Just go second round. I think it's a good bet. Just do the Slava Claus KO bet. But man, the line, I wish it was a little bit closer, because I do think Chase has a good shot to win with that submission, but I'm just going to go with Slava Claus. Main card, we'll see how long this fight lasts. Waldo Cortes-Acosta versus Rebellis Despaigne. And Cortes, salsa boy, he likes to dance in the middle of the ring. We've seen that multiple times, but does have good, solid striking, good volume. Does not check leg kicks whatsoever, but he pushes forward. He's durable, okay power, and that's his game. He wants to kill you with the volume. He wants to stay in your face and until you gas out, which is a potentially a chance he could do this one for this fight. But Rebellis, though, massive, 6'7". He's got an 87-inch reach, which is insane for a heavyweight. But he's a Taekwondo fighter, Olympic guy, good striking, tons of power in his hands. We've seen it in his last fight, his UFC debut against Josh Parisian. It was under 20 seconds. But yeah, he's got a lot of KOs in the first round. I think all of his wins have come in the KO. I mean, he's only had 5, but good kicks too. But the thing about it is, if this fight extends anything past like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, maybe into the second round, we just don't know what he's going to look like. But we know what he looks like in the first round, and that's good enough for me for this fight. I think he gets this one done in the first round by knockout. I think Waldo, I mean, his striking defense, I mean, we've seen him get cracked, but he's not fighting guys who have the power of Rebellis. He's fought Orlovsky, he's fought Bretsky, he's fought De Lima, and he lost a decision there. He's fought Chase Sherman, he's fought Jared Bandera. These guys don't remotely have the power that Rebellis has, and Waldo's been cracked a couple times by these guys and hit well. And if that happens, he's going down. So we'll see. I don't blame anybody for picking Waldo or betting him and hoping that he survives for 2.5 minutes, but I'm going to pick Rebellis, and I do think he gets that knockout in the first round. It should be a fun fight. I want to see what happens, but we'll see. That's what I'm going with. Come on. There we go. We got Alex Caceres versus Sean Woodson. If it'll pop up. There we go. So Bruce Leroy. Let's see. He's well-rounded. He's got good striking, good grappling. His wrestling is a little bit meh, but he does have good submissions and sneaky submissions. He's durable normally, good cardio. Just a solid vet that's good everywhere. Maybe not amazing anywhere too, but he's got 14 losses, but he has been doing well as of late. The Giga fight, he did get hurt in that fight. I want to say he injured his arm. So something to think about. And it's only 8 months ago, actually. I feel like Giga hasn't fought in years, but it's been 8 months. Okay. But he looked good in these other fights that he won. So that's something to think about there. Sean Woodson also looking pretty good in his recent fights, but very good boxer. He's got very good takedown defense too. Decent power in his hands. He's not gonna touch you up with that one touch or one punch knockout power. He is more so like death by 1,000 cuts. He likes to work the body. He slows down a little bit with his volume as the fight goes on, but he is pretty durable. He's been cracked a couple times by what's his name? It's Luis Saldana, which is why it went to draw, because he was winning that fight, but he got knocked down a couple times. But every one of these other fights, this one was very close. I did think Sean Woodson won, though, but it went to split. Actually, yeah, I do. Yeah, I was thinking of a different fight. But this is going to be a fun fight. And I do think Sean Woodson wins this fight. He's going to be fighting out of St. Louis. He's from St. Louis, so he's going to have a little bit of extra motivation there. A little red flag for Caceres. He's coming back from an injury from Giga. And I think the reason why I had the injury was the Giga kicks. So I can see that. But this should be a close, fun fight. Goes to decision. I think one of those types of fights. But I just think Woodson's boxing is going to be a little bit too crisp, a little bit too much for Caceres. Caceres is going to need to mix in some takedowns, maybe use his kicks effectively, because I don't think he's going to be winning the boxing here. So give me Woodson to win. I'm going to say by decision, maybe third round decision, something like that. I think the line's probably appropriate, but I just don't know if I want to jump on that minus 180. We'll see where the line goes throughout the week. Next fight, Diego Ferreira versus Mateus Rebecki. And Ferreira looked good in his last fight. I'll tell you that. I had Michael Johnson, but that's that. Let's see. But he's a well-rounded guy. He's got good grappling, good submissions. His striking is pretty good, as you saw in his last fight. He's got power in his hands. But I think he's leaning more so with his striking as of late. He is 39 years old now, so I know originally Rebecki was supposed to fight somebody differently, so I don't want to say this is a short notice fight for him, but they had to move the Rebecki fight to this card because for whatever reason, whoever Rebecki was supposed to fight. Rebecki, though, very good wrestler, very good grappling. He does have very good takedowns too, but his striking is just okay. But he has power in his hands, and he's always going to push forward. He uses his striking to set up his takedowns. He can slow down a little bit as the fight goes on if he gets a little too crazy in the first round. We've seen a couple of his fights, but he's very tough and he's very durable. So this is going to be a fun fight, but I'm all over Rebecki in this fight. I think he's going to have the wrestling advantage, obviously. And on the feet, I do think it's close, but I'm not really scared of Diego's BJJ off his back if Rebecki does get taken down or gets the takedowns. So I do think that's probably what's going to happen here. Now, if Ferreira starts using some wrestling himself, it could be a little bit dicey, but even like I said, even on the feet, I think this is going to be close. I do think Rebecki has more power in his hands, and I do think he's more durable as well. So give me Rebecki to win. The real question is, does this go to decision? Does it get a finish? But honestly, if there's a finish, I'm going to say it's going to be Rebecki. And if it's a decision, I think Rebecki's going to be landing the harder shots and getting the takedowns and winning the minutes that way. So I'll say Rebecki by second round knockout or third round knockout, more so probably second. But yeah, I think he gets this one done. I'm pretty confident in this one. Fun fight here. Alonzo Menifield versus Carlos Ulberg. And Menifield, powerful striker. He's not the most technical guy on the feet. He can use some wrestling if need be. Pretty good takedown defense. He's very strong. His volume can be a little low at times. He's a little hittable as well, which worries me for him in this fight. But he is solid. He had a good win against Dustin Jacoby and Jimmy Crute. So he is on a little bit of a roll. He is up there in age, 36, but nothing to worry about at all, though. Ulberg, very good kickboxer. He's got that left hook, death touch power. He's knocked out many of people with that. Good takedown defense. He does have pretty good volume on the feet. Good kicks, too. I think this fight's going to stay on the feet. I think Menifield should shoot for some takedowns, though, but I think Ulberg's eventually going to catch him. I don't think Menifield's striking defense is going to be up to par because I think Ulberg is always going to be live for a knockout in this fight. And then I do think if this fight goes to decision, it may be close, but I think Ulberg can do enough, land more volume, land more strikes, and win this one too. So give me Ulberg. I'm going to say by knockout, though. I'll say second round as well. And it'd be good for Menifield to mix in some wrestling in this fight. Try to, at least. If you don't succeed, cool. But you're going to wear down Ulberg a little bit. And you don't want a fresh Ulberg ever because you can get probably knocked out immediately. Had the hiccups. Co-main event, Joaquin Buckley versus Nursultan Ruziboev. Both these guys fought recently, and I think they both fought on the same card. Yeah, and they both won by knockout. Isn't that crazy? Buckley, powerful striker, good kicks, good volume, pretty solid cardio as well, at least for 2 rounds. But this welterweight move for him has changed everything for him. Kind of like Ferreira moving to middleweight. It's like 2 completely different fighters. He's on a little run here. Fought some good competition and looking really good doing so. Nursultan, he's more so a wrestler, grappler guy, but he's been getting these knockouts on the feet his last 2 fights in the UFC. He is going to be 6'5". His reach is, I think, approximately the same as Buckley, 76, 77-inch reach, but he's going to be the taller guy here. His takedown defense isn't all that great. He can be controlled on the mat if he's taken down, but we've seen his, like I said, his striking has looked pretty good, but I don't think it's very technical. Like, yeah, he got the knockout against Cedric Dumas, but there was a controversial eye poke, maybe, or yes. But after a while, like, he figured out that he could get an uppercut through to Dumas, and then he went to the well way too much. And I think Dumas eventually could have knocked Ruziboev out because he was leaving himself open to shots after shots after shots. So I don't think his striking defense is all that great. And you have to be on your P's and Q's against Buckley, and because he's always dangerous with his high kicks, which I swear if he tries more than 2 high kicks in this whole fight, because he's not going to land them. There is a 6-inch height difference, but he loves his high kicks. But anyways, I'm rambling. Give me Buckley to win. I just think he's more experienced. I think he's super explosive. I think he's going to be quicker, more athletic. I think he can get some takedowns himself. He will have to be a little bit careful on the mat though, because Nursultan does have good submissions and he has a ton of them. He's fought 44 times. So he has the experience, just doesn't have the UFC experience. Buckley has fought way better guys. So give me Buckley to win. I'm going to say by knockout. It just seems like Buckley is on this knockout streak and he's going to be able to find Nursultan maybe in the first round. I'm going to say first round. Let's do it. I think it's going to be a fun fight for however long it lasts, but I'm going to ride the train of Buckley. Something is up with him and he's looking really good. So it's hard to fade him at this point. Main event, which not the greatest main event, let's be honest. But we got Derek Lewis versus Rogerio Nascimento. And we all know who Derek Lewis is. One-punch knockout artist or flying knee guy, if you want to say. But he's super low volume. He's okay with taking his time, slowly plotting, his way to land that one knockout shot. But he's getting up there in age. He's 39 years old. He's shown a little bit of quit in him, especially if someone tries to grapple him. Even if he gets hit with a decent shot, he looks like he's kind of quitting a bit too. In his last fight against Jailton, he was literally ticking down every round and held. Do I think this will happen in this fight? No. But Nascimento, though, he's a good grappler. He's got solid takedowns, good submissions. Striking is pretty good. I wouldn't say he has that one-punch knockout power, though. A lot of his recent fights have gone to decision, and they were very close decisions as well. So this is an interesting fight because obviously you can see Derek Lewis getting a knockout, and that's probably his path to victory. He's got 5 rounds to do it. This fight's not going to probably go 5 rounds, but it might. I mean, I said that last time in the Jailton fight. So we'll see what happens. But I just think Nascimento can get some takedowns. And I'm going to go with the underdog in Nascimento. For me, it's just very hard to trust Derek Lewis. I don't know what Derek Lewis I'm going to get. Am I going to get Derek Lewis that quits, or am I going to get the Derek Lewis that's going to come out there and do a flying knee and win in 20 seconds? Something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm just going to roll with Nascimento. I'm not super confident, though. I'll be honest. But at plus money, are you trusting Derek Lewis at minus 165? You trust Derek Lewis when he's the underdog. You don't trust Derek Lewis in a favorite role. And just so you know, too, the line opened as a pick'em, and people are betting on Derek Lewis. I can't bet Derek Lewis at a favorite because you just can't trust him. So give me Nascimento to win. I'll say by submission. No, I'll say by ground and pound knockout. Third round. But Nascimento is going to have to be careful in the first round, obviously. But I think he can. I think he's going to want to go for some takedowns, but he's just going to have to watch that flying knee from Derek Lewis. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to take a shot. Why not? But all right, guys, that is it. All 13 fights for UFC St. Louis. Appreciate everybody watching. Definitely hit that like button on your way out. This week, our live shows, me and Cody, Defend Your Units is going to be on Wednesday night. It's going to be on Cody's channel. So 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely have the notifications on for that. We'll post it on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. And yeah, good luck for all your bets. Hope we have some good fights. It should be a pretty solid card. Should be some bangers. Should be some finishes, all that good stuff. So take care. Until next